Hi there, it's Jenny Kirk here and we're going to be doing a box opening and review video, and our subject today is the new Dapol Class 22 locomotive in 00, and we've got a lovely box here, good and sturdy, so let's open it up and see what we've got inside. This is the new Dapol North British Class 22 locomotive, and we've got a catalogue number D1000B, and this is in BR Blue, number D6318. This is actually the first Dapol locomotive that I've bought in a very long time, and I have to be commended on this model. It is really quite nice, and the first thing that you notice is the packaging. It's quite substantial. They've kind of gone away from the kind of packaging that both Hornby and Bachmann have favoured, and they've gone more in the way that Helgen has packaged their locomotives, and they've tried to be very distinctive, and I think this is important so that these things stand out on the shelf, because you don't want it to look like another clone of Hornby or Bachmann. It's quite a substantial box, very strong, protects the contents very well. So we're just going to lift the lid off here. We're going to get rid of that. And what we see inside here is, again, like Helgen locomotives, we've got this black foam, which I seem to recall computer parts also come in this kind of thing. We lift out that lid, it's just a piece of foam, and reveals inside more of the foam with the locomotive protected in the middle in a plastic blister packaging. And this is actually quite similar to what Bachmann have been using inside their boxes for their locomotives, but they obviously have a much different outer. And we've got two little detailing packs, which handily have a little tab so you can pull them out. And there we've got lots of little individual lifting eyes and buffer beam detailing that can be fitted by the purchaser, and couplings in there as well. But they are quite fiddly, and to be honest, in everyday use, I think a lot of those you really wouldn't notice. And at the other end we've got another one of those, easy to pull out. We've got head codes to go on, and on the other side we've got the valances which can be fitted along the bottom edge of the locomotive. But I have seen photographs that these valances on the real locomotive did sometimes go missing, so again, it's not something that I've particularly been all that bothered about fitting, because they'd only get damaged in handling. Now, to lift this out, this foam does compact, so we can quite easily get in there and lift out the locomotive in its protective packaging. And we're going to put that to one side, and we can see we've got the instructions. I say the instructions, it's got a brief background of the class of locomotive, and a little bit of pointers on lubrication, and see what else we've got in here. It's interesting, it actually shows the CAD drawings rather than the actual model. You see here these strange colours as the CAD drawings, and it shows you if you want to fit one of those newfangled DCC sound setups. It shows you how to fit all of that, but I'm using 12 volt DC, old school, so that's not really something that interests me. Now, the packaging is quite interesting. It's got this sort of clear ring around it, which just slips off quite easily, and that just holds this inner packaging together. It makes it just a bit easier to slip in and out of the box, but you just pull the ripcord and out it comes. Now, it's interesting to see that in order to protect the locomotive in transit, just give that a pull, it should just come out. It's quite firmly in place, but we've got these black foam pads. It's just like a softish foam material, quite thin, that grips the locomotive without rubbing on the detail. And these are actually stuck in, which is a lot better than the foam which a lot of things like the Bachmann locomotives and wagons come with, which invariably moves about, and it's just generally a pain in the neck if you want to actually put the locomotive back into the packaging. So that is a nice touch from Dapol. Here we have the locomotive itself. It's quite short. That's something that struck me, obviously because none of the real ones survived. It is a very, very short locomotive. And the other thing that strikes me from the start is the spoked wheels. Quite unusual on a diesel locomotive. Obviously things like Class 8 shunters, Class 9 shunters have the spoked wheels, but as for a full-on mainline locomotive, that is very unusual, but it's characteristic of the North British products. Now, we've done a video on dismantling these, so if you want to go back to the previous video and have a look, I'll lead you through how to actually dismantle the cab interiors. And that's a down point for this Dapol locomotive, is that they haven't really made it easy to get into the cabs well, in my case, it was to repair the windows, which had just dropped back into the body shell. But also, there's no driver figures in these, so if you want to fit a driver and crew, it's just very difficult to get in there. That said, once you're in there, it's fairly easy to repair anything that's fallen in, and also it's probably a good opportunity to add in the head coat panels as well. The couplings, we've got these NEM pockets, slightly sprung, but they are quite easy to replace. They're screwed in. It's very difficult to see there, but you can get a small jeweler's screwdriver in, and these just unscrew, so you can get rid of them and you can fit buffer beam detail if that's the way that you want to go. The paint finish, it's got a kind of a satin look to it, and I do like this. It's a sort of a bluey green, but it does really look the part. And for what really could actually be seen as quite a bland locomotive, it's been executed very, very well, with all the grills on the side, the doors into the engine room, and one of the nicknames for this class, and also the Class 21s and 29s, which were from the same manufacturer, is Old Sad Eyes. And you can see from the front there, they've captured that kind of sad expression quite well. We've got sprung buffers, which seems to be all the rage at the moment, but unless you're using a different type of coupling, these buffers will never really come into contact with any other buffers, but you know, a nice touch if it's something that you want to use. The weight on this is pretty impressive. It does weigh in at an impressive weight, which aids traction. I have had this running, and I haven't yet been able to make it slip and struggle. So it is a very good performer on the track. Quite a quiet runner. We'll hopefully do some videos of watching it go by. And we're going to see there's a lot of underframe detail in there. We've got all-wheel drive, which again helps with the adhesion. So overall, I'd say this is it's at least a 9 out of 10, possibly even a 10 out of 10. The only gripe, as I said before, is those cab interiors, but as long as your windows don't fall in, as long as kids don't come along and stove your windows in, "Oi mister, give me 50p or I'll smack your windows in." And if you have no real need to get into those cabs, then it isn't really a major detraction. So that is a lovely offering there from Dapol. And Dapol is a manufacturer who, up until recently, have probably been more closely associated with N-gauge models, although they did originally do a lot of 00, but after the fire at their, I think it was Wrexham factory, unfortunately they fell on hard times and had to sell a lot of the moulds. So some of the Dapol models do still exist, but are made by Hornby, I think, in the main, which is nice though to see that they've bounced back. Looking forward to if they do release the Class 21 and Class 29s, although there's no sign of any progress on that, so we'll just have to make do with the 22. Oh gosh, that rhymes, haiku. But there we have it, a beautiful little model, pretty inexpensive in the grand scheme of things as well. I picked up this example for under £70 from a well-known online retailer, so remarkably good value, and that's pretty much all that can be said for it. Well, that's pretty much all that I've got time for, so hope you enjoyed this box opening and review of this wonderful little model, the Class 22 from Dapol. Anyway, you take care of yourself. You know the score. Don't forget to like this video and share this video too. Let other people know about this model. And also subscribe to the channel. You'll be the first to see new videos as they get posted. Anyway, make sure it's all shaking down in Groove Town and take good care of yourself. Bye for now.